The retail industry faces a plethora of challenges. These could range from market and economic volatility, could be political in nature, inflation. Uh, it's not about retail; it's about the environment of the world we live in today. More specific to us would be the lack of quality retail professionals we want to deploy. As we move to retail 2.0 in our country, we are finding it difficult to find good talent and groom teams in the local front. To explain that, at head offices, we are able to hire the right kind of people because it's very easy for us to get good quality talent in a Bangalore or in Delhi, etc. But when you start pushing your retail boundaries to different cities and different clusters, the quality of people in those clusters sometimes are not up to the mark. And when you start getting them into, you start training them and you get them groomed into that role, then we are plagued with attrition. So it's pretty much like a double-faced problem. One is we start opening new markets, we start creating new, champions for retail, we start creating new teams who can help us drive clusters and retail performances. But as it moves along, it just becomes a bit of a problem for us. Yes, that's pretty much my logic or my biggest challenge of retail is to kind of hire the right kind of people to man retail in the front line. This roots back to the same question I raised in the first part. Our challenge is to kind of build good retail teams in the front line because these are the retail outposts which have been manned. With 400 doors today, it's impossible for us to control things centrally. So we need to kind of ensure that we empower our frontline people. Now the question is, nobody wants to leave a corporate role and go into a frontline outpost because it's not cool enough. Unfortunately, people like to be the center of things. They don't mind doing a smaller role, but staying in the head office versus doing a bigger role and branching out into the frontline space. So we are no different. We have the same problems. And when I say skilled labor, I mentioned to you, labor is of two types. Labor, we don't want to call them unskilled labor in retail because we call them customer care associates. We call them people who take care of customers. So the word skilled is not something I would like to connote with our retail front line. Do they have the empathy for retail is the larger question we ask. Do you understand that retail is not about a very pushy sale job? It's more about managing the sum of parts of a retail environment. Now, when I go to a 5-star hotel, right, no one is serving me and selling me their products. They are creating the entire environment for me to seamlessly move through an experience, and then I end up consuming, whether I'm eating the F&B or I'm using their lounge facilities or their rooms, etc., etc. Retail is just like that for us. We want to ensure that our customer care associates, our frontline retail professionals start creating an environment conducive for consumers to shop in. In the past, when we had shopkeeping as a vocation, you were trying to always push a sale to a consumer because it was a buyer's market or a seller's market at that point of time. So it was, I can sell more, therefore I will be a better retailer. Today we are trying to figure out a way where we give an experientia to the consumer, and then he or she automatically buys in from us. So to answer that question about skilled labor, I would say we need more empathetic workforce. We need people who are willing to help create environment conducive for retail vis-a-vis trying to be a pushy salesperson in the stores. Now, do we have skilled operators handling this role? Answer is no. We have a very strong retail program where we call it Train the Trainer. We bring in good talent, recognized talent across the country into classroom sessions at corporate. In markets like Delhi and Bombay, we end up going there and doing classrooms because there's a lot more stores for us, a lot more retail professionals working for us there. And we call the North teams there or the West teams into a Bombay and hold workshops. Now, after training the guys in the front, the better stores or the better ones, these then branch off into other stores. So we don't train everyone, we train the trainer. So we have a very effective program at Arvind where we are able to reach out to more of our colleagues in the front line. But then we go back to the same problem again. We train them and then they leave because there's always somebody who's paying a better dollar price for the services. So that becomes like the yin and yang of our business. So we end up training people and they end up at some point leaving us and moving out to different pastures. See, I'm happy for once someone is saying it's women first. So otherwise, it's unfortunate that in India we've got a bias towards men hiring. A lot of companies don't want to hire women essentially because at some point they will become mothers and they will take leave of absence. They don't have the ability to work long hours like men do, and not because of physical incapabilities, because they manage their work life and their family life. So I mentioned that most of my women colleagues, I call them superhumans because they actually end up doing a lot more than what we men do. So if you say that's a bias towards women, then I'll leave it as a bias. But I don't think that's the way we approach our hiring. We approach people for the kind of whether they fit the culture of our company or not. So skill is probably the third thing we check in a person's ability to join our teams. Empathy is very important. The ability to be patient is very important. Patient with consumers, patient with your teams. You can't be flying off the handle at any given point of time. And aggression is good when it's internal and not manifest external, because you can't be an aggressive salesperson in a retail environment. That's how it is. So are women suited better? I think they could be, because women ultimately are better multitaskers than men are. It's a proven phenomenon. And retail is about multitasking. You've got to manage housekeeping of the store, you've got to manage attendance, you've got to manage administration, you've got to manage consumer, you've got to manage consumer loyalty programs, you've got to manage Omni today, where you've got orders coming from various marketplaces. So the store manager's role is no longer about opening the store and shutting the store and ensuring that the goods are racked in properly and stock taking is done. It's gone beyond that. Now, companies who understand the role of this store personnel and the front line has changed will start making the required changes for those people. If you expect the same guy to keep on doing more of the same, the answer is going to be a definite no. So I don't feel that we are partial to women per se, but I do feel that sometimes women do a better job than men, And I also believe that because if you go back to the manufacturing side of our businesses, largely workforces for apparel manufacturing comes from women, because it's a pretty much a 8-hour, 9-hour shift. In India we allow a lot of transportation is taken care of, meals are taken care of for the staff or the workers, in apparel companies. So we find a lot more women coming for workforce because it's an 8-hour shift. They come and they go, they take care of their families, they run their whole lifestyle around it. So yes, if in that case, I would say women suit the industry better. But as a hiring professional, do I look at them as a preferred choice? The answer is no.